In the U.S., there are basically four different parties. They're the Democrats, who look to the government to create a safety net for Americans, Republicans, who say they want less government, and Libertarians, who are basically Republicans who get high. And finally, MAGA.
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black.
MAGA has no ideology, no platform, and they stand for nothing. Growing out of the GOP like a tumor, they either drove out Republicans or seduced those of weak character to join them, and it's been ugly.
Former Congresswoman Liz Cheney becoming the latest high-profile Republican to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris for president. She made those comments yesterday during an appearance at Duke University. The Harris campaign welcomed Cheney's support, calling her a, quote, patriot who loves this country and puts our democracy and our Constitution first.
Well, you know, that's actually, Willie, that's what's at issue here. We're not talking really about ideology of either of these candidates, in large part because Donald Trump has no ideology, and they are both racing to the center. So the lines are getting blurred. But, you know, somebody in the Republican Party who may attack Liz Cheney say, oh, my gosh. Oh, so you're going to abandon your pro-life position like Donald Trump? Is that what, are you talking about, like Donald Trump abandoning his right in front of our eyes? No, not really. She's just voting for democracy. She's voting that the constitutional republic endures with Madisonian checks and balances. Then they go, well, what about the southern border? The southern border is, are you going to abandon that issue? Like Donald Trump, who killed the toughest bill ever? I mean, you know, the deficit. What about the deficit? I thought you were a small government conservative. Donald Trump, biggest deficits ever, biggest debt ever, biggest federal budget ever when he was in office. So again, this is not about ideology, because Donald Trump is not a conservative, something I've been saying here since 2015. He doesn't talk like a conservative. He's abandoned conservatives on the issues that matter to them the most. So at this point, are you for a personality cult?
Liz Cheney was at Duke University this week and took the opportunity to endorse Harris.
Not only am I not voting for Donald Trump, but I will be voting for Kamala Harris.
She's still a conservative, but she's an American first, a point Democrats will hopefully remember. She joined Adam Kinzinger and a few other Republicans in standing up to the new party of cult, the party of Donald Trump.
I say this to my Republican colleagues who are defending the indefensible. There will come a day when Donald Trump is gone, but your dishonor will remain.
The significance of this is terrifying. MAGA usurped the Republican ideals of limited government and turned the party into a diseased authoritarian cult. And Trump's talent for grift was the perfect catalyst for the new party of hate.
I believe in hate speech. When you have hate for somebody, I am 100% into hate speech, because it's freedom of speech. You can speak.
So if you hate someone, you should be able to just say it.
Yeah.
MAGA's leader is not bright, but that's not a necessary skill for a con man. All they need is to be able to spot a weakness and exploit it. Most Americans don't know the difference between the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution. I'm not sure Trump even knows.
This is a Trump rally. If you don't like it, don't come here to protest. Don't come if you're uneducated and you don't know what you're talking about.
You would rather they just didn't come here?
I would rather them not come here.
Are you a fan of the First Amendment?
Absolutely. You know, the right to bear arms. Look, this is...
That's not the First Amendment.
No. The Fourth Amendment, but I'm saying...
That's not the Fourth Amendment either.
Which one is it?
Which one do you want to know? The right to free speech, the First Amendment?
First Amendment, freedom of speech.
And you love the right to bear arms. Which amendment do you think that is?
I thought it was the Fourth.
And this is the party they have created. MAGA is not conservative, and despite the presence of so many Republicans, they're not Republican either. Trump's attack on Roe was predictable. He wanted evangelicals, and they held their noses and voted for him. Then came the Dobbs decision, and the lives of millions of women were imperiled.
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
Trump also worked with the Heritage Foundation to create Project 2025, a vast Orwellian plan to change society and our Constitution. Not very conservative.
On January 20th, 2025, Donald Trump is sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. Unfortunately, he keeps his promises. Trump seizes control of a divided government, signing hundreds of executive orders implementing Project 2025. Protected by the Supreme Court's grant of total immunity for official acts, Donald Trump orders the Department of Justice to arrest members of the January 6th Commission.
Then Kamala Harris came along, and Trump is freaking out.
I'm a better looking person. The late great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man. You know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. Bing, 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 bing. She said Kamala has one big advantage. She's a very beautiful woman. I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
As he sees the gender gap growing, he's trying to say that he now will or maybe not vote for or against the Florida referendum attacking the state's strict 6-week abortion law. So there alone, you can see that MAGA is a principle-less posse of flailing white men.
And white people are done being bullied.
Discriminating against and just denigrating white people.
That guy is an avowed racist who once had dinner with Trump, and he's at the core of MAGA's deep, racist, anti-Semitic roots.
Jews will not replace us! Very fine people on both sides.
Now, in the past 10 days, Trump has indicated that he lost the 2020 race by a whisker.
Lost by a whisker.
Actually, 7 million whiskers, but who's counting? And that's a big deal. Trump has spent the last 1,200 days pushing the big lie that our country could not conduct a fair and honest election. A dangerous claim that cost 4 people their lives on January the 6th. He even then called for a celebration for the people who stormed the Capitol that day.
They're not heroes. My brother's a hero.
The reaction of Brian Sicknick's brother to this flyer announcing a fundraiser for January 6th defendants to be held at the Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey on September 5th. Brian, a U.S. Capitol police officer, fought off the mob and died the next day.
But the weight of MAGA's insanity has Trump's people pushing him to cancel the celebration, push back on his anti-abortion stance, and apparently even admit to the world that he lost in 2020. That made some of his people pretty upset.
That's how pathetic it's gotten. He's admitting, he says, oh, I lost by a whisker. So what was the point? Like, what's the point of any of it? You lost in 2020? Seriously? I mean, what are we even doing anymore? Then you're a loser. Then you're a loser.
Now, when you're MAGA and you lose the Nazis, you got a problem. But MAGA was never really a party. It was off-center from the start. It was like buying sushi at a gas station. This was apparent and still is. The false reality of whatever's at the core of MAGA is still alive and breathing. MAGA pretends it's the Republican Party even when they say it's not.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Not one Republican is signing up today. MAGA is a collection of the dim-witted and the opportunistic. From Roseanne to Chachi, their bench is weak at best. Their biggest name they can get is Kid Rock and RFK Jr., you know, when he's not eating roadkill and stuffing worms in his ear. But the question is, do they have enough to win? We are inside 2 months before the election, and Trump's last gasp is to try and convince America that he's not insane. That's like trying to convince me that Rudy doesn't drink.
That is crazy!
Whatever happens on November the 5th, Democrats and Republicans need to sit down and examine their differences and maybe more importantly, their similarities. Maybe borrow a blunt or two from the libertarians because, you know, it's going to be that kind of year.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Damn right.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Trust me.
Shut the f*** up, Don.
Who's with me?
Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.